Hello everyone, my name is Marion with DTM Real Talk Channel. It's the channel that you can tune into, have the ability to listen to the thoughts of others about topics all over the world that touch every one of our lives. Everybody goes through basically the same thing. There is nothing new under the sun. So if you're going through, someone else has already been there. Maybe you can find hope. Maybe it's a pathway that can set you on the right road just by tuning in. So DTM Real Talk, just keeping it real. And if you like it, like us at the bottom, subscribe, and let us know just how we helped you. Just keeping it real. Nothing but love. Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are. This is Marion with DTM Real Talk, and we're just keeping it real this morning. And for real, I'm going to say this morning, this evening, because my special guest today, I get excited. Y'all, let me calm down. Mufasa. Okay. My special guest today is in South Africa. And that's why I always say good morning, good evening, good night, because it's truly evening over there, or afternoon, huh? Afternoon. My guest today is Cedric and Pauline Chippendale, who are dear friends of mine for how long? 10, 15?
Yes, over 20.
Yeah.
Almost 2 decades, yeah.
Yeah.
Over a decade, right? Yeah. So, yeah, we've done some things together. But here's the thing, y'all. I didn't know their story. I just see the end result. So I'm excited and all that. But anyway, we have them today to share with us, and I have no idea what they're going to share. But before they share, before I introduce them to you, if this is your first time chiming into DTM Real Talk, thank you. Y'all know I'm greatly appreciative, excited. Please like, share, and subscribe. Share with all your friends, everybody, because everybody need to know. Everybody need to know, hear the message. Whatever the message is always how much Jesus loves you at the end of the day. But anyhow, Cedric and Pauline, say hi to the good folks out there.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Y'all can tell I'm excited, huh? Well, anyway, you guys, we're going to get started. I just know them and love them from the bottom of my heart. We've done so many things together, but Cedric, we'll start with you. First of all, how y'all doing?
Well, we're getting cold. It's we are in the midst of our winter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So 20 degrees, according to your calculation, to about 34, 35 during the day.
34-hour calculation?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. 2 weeks ago we had snow all
We had snow.
Mountains.
Yeah. So I know. I know that you Americans are, sweltering in the heat. We are shivering in the cold.
Absolutely, because it's been like 80s here, sometimes up into 3 digits, but lately, since the hurricane season, we've dropped back down to 80s, 90s.
Okay.
Going back up, I should say, the 80s, 90s.
We dream of those temperatures. This is really good. Yeah.
Right. Awesome. Okay, Cedric, we're gonna start with you. I mean, tell us a little bit about I don't know. I never knew if you had siblings. Do you?
Well, we have my family is a little bit complicated.
Excuse me, it's all our families are complicated.
I have 9 other siblings,
Okay.
but it's not all from the same biological parent.
Right.
So I have 4 others from my family of origin. My father died when I was about 6.
Oh, okay.
And then my mother remarried. My stepfather had 4. And then through the marriage, they had 1 more. So we added 10. So we were a blended family long before the word blended came out. Yes. So it's kind of complicated. So I have 9 siblings.
Okay.
One of them has passed already.
Yes. Okay, well, I could say hey to that way before blended came. So, you know. What about you, Pauline? You have siblings?
Yeah, I have 8 siblings, one of whom also passed a couple of years ago.
Sorry.
We have six girls and 3 boys.
Okay.
So yeah, 8 of us are still alive.
No wonder we eat so well. We so comfy when we come to South Africa. Y'all used to that.
Yeah. But also we were 4, and then my mom and dad divorced, and she remarried, and then she had the other 5.
Okay.
So we're nine altogether.
Wow, 9, so 10. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So yeah, so that's a good thing. Well, very well, very well. So I guess where I want to go, oh yeah, wow. So let's talk a little bit about your childhood, Cedric. You know, how did that work after, you know, you had all this family, and how did y'all get along, and you know, what was your journey to where you are now? Yeah.
Well, we I was one of 2 boys in the original family. I have an older brother who's now living in Australia. And then I have 3 other sisters. We started out living in one big room. My mother and father rented a room from my grandparents, and we spent most of our childhood living in an area, yes, just outside Cape Town, city of Cape Town. We grew up in an area called Woodstock, which was made up mainly of people who were immigrants to the country. I'm a second or third generation immigrant.
Okay.
So the old area was people who came in from the European continent and settled there. And so I grew up there. And when my father died in an accident, we moved from there to what we call the townships, which is similar to your inner city, low income.
Here. Okay.
Yeah, like your inner city, high crime, large families, bunch of social issues that you know.
Yeah.
So that's where. So I spent half of my childhood close to the inner city, and then the second half of my childhood I spent about 30 miles out of the city, in a desolated area. It was it's a desert, so to speak, in terms of people living there. It's the circumstances are challenging, gangsterism, drug abuse, prostitution, the whole gamut.
Yes.
I grew up on that. Yes.
And you know, here's a weird part, and I want the audience to see this, my YouTube family. Every time I see television, which I don't watch television that much anymore, only movies. I like Netflix, but anyway, you know, when they talk about Africa on television, they always shoot to third world countries. So when people speak of Africa here, they always think third world countries, you know, people drinking water with insects and things like that. Talk about that, because when I was there, that wasn't the case, and I was like, whoa, this is what I've seen all my days. Talk about that.
Yeah. Well, a few weeks ago, I was traveling with Michael Boone. You know him, and he came and we did some work in the rural areas with the church there. And he said, "You people are African light," what he call us. And I said, "What on earth do you mean by African light?" He says, "Well, South Africa is a bit ahead of the other African countries in that they have a better infrastructure. So we had running water, we had electricity to our homes, we had roads, and we had hospitals. So the idea of when I was living, my children grew up in the U.S. And many of the friends say, "What are you doing going back to South Africa where the lions are walking in the street?"
Yeah.
The lions in the street. We don't drink our water out of wells. Our water comes from treatment centers. So there's basic schools.
Yeah.
So it was African light.
Yes,
You know.
that's a good
Yeah.
word. It takes Michael Boone to say it, African light.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted you to share that, because when I tell people I've been to Africa 14 times, I'm like, oh yeah, South Africa. They be like, oh, you know, lions and tigers and bears. Oh yeah. You know, no, just we ate good too, y'all. They fed us.
Yeah.
And I also said to my son, you have 40 degrees
40
Celsius, 40 degrees Celsius in the shade. Like,
Yeah,
nothing of the kind.
right, right. Now, granted, they did take us to areas that we were able to minister to that were less fortunate. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, South Africa is really a picture of two countries.
Mhm.
On the one hand, you have a first world country where you have well-developed infrastructure, but you don't have to travel far to see the other side of South Africa, where
Right.
people are living in overcrowded conditions, no jobs, roads are really bad, and so you have this dichotomy in South Africa: wealthy people, well-off people, similar to an American standard
Just
of
like
living.
Yeah.
Also, on the other hand, you have
Very poor.
very poor, overcrowded um, conditions.
Yeah.
So when we ministered, like when you were here, we went to an area called Tembaletu, where you have the one class, we went to the one school
right.
where there were 1,200 students in a high school, and only 34 staff members.
Yeah.
So so you sit with classes that are overcrowded. The ratio there would be 1 to 80, one teacher, 80 students.
Yeah.
And so you have those challenges as well.
Right. Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, Pauline, let's share with the good folks. My sister is a cancer survivor. Talk about that a little bit. I don't know why I went there. I just did. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, wait, you're taking me back. It's 17 years this year.
Yeah.
October,
Amen.
September,
Yeah.
17 September. It was actually on September the 21st, on his birthday, when the doctor shared the news with me.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize that time it was his birthday. It just all went way over my head, because I tried to process it, and you're thinking, this is not happening, it's not real, oh my goodness, when I look back now, I'm a trophy of God's grace, really.
Yeah.
I was a stage 3B colon cancer.
Okay.
It wasn't colorectal, it was just colon, CA.
Yeah.
And I went through the surgery. I had to take chemo every Friday for 8 months.
Yes.
Every Friday. And I cannot, there's not a time when my cancer markers went up. It stayed like, on the low normal. And that is just God.
Yeah.
It is just God that worked that out. And I am so grateful that I'm alive to talk about it.
Yeah.
God has been so good to me. If I tell my story now to people, because I do volunteer work at the hospital for the Cancer Association. And in the oncology department, we talk to the people who sit while they're getting their chemo. We serve them coffee and tea and sandwiches, because some of them are very poor. They come from very far remote areas, and they have to travel early in the morning. The hospital usually sends a little, a mini bus to pick them up. And by the time we get there, they are starving, they're hungry and, tired, and they sit there, and they also are very afraid, very fearful, because if it's your first time, you don't know what to expect. Right. So we encourage them, and tell them, what to do and what not to do and all of that. And so the people really appreciate what we are doing. Yeah. Because they don't know what to expect. And a lot of them are clueless about what cancer is all about, and so on. So yeah, when I go to the hospital, I mean, I enjoy talking to the people and just share a little bit of myself with them. And last week I went, it was my turn last week to go, and I got involved with some of the people sitting outside, and then the loved one would sit inside, in the chemo room. And I spoke a little bit to them about my experience and what I did and what you shouldn't do and so on. And they asked me to go and talk to their sister who's sitting inside.
Yes.
It was 3 of them. Yeah. And I just started talking randomly to the ladies who were sitting down there. And this one lady was sharing her experience. And she said to me, I serve a loving God, that woman said to me. And she said she doesn't, she don't fear, she just does whatever she has to do. And she goes on with life. And then the other lady was sitting there in the corner. And then she started, she was listening, and she nodded and said, yeah, that she was having some difficulty in accepting it, and going through all kinds of emotions. And so I talked, and in the end we were laughing. And the sister, the nurse who's there administering the chemo, she wanted to know what is the joke? What are you guys laughing and talking about? Yeah, because the thing is that when they're so scared, and somebody else come and talk about their own experience, then it changes
Sure.
for you,
Sure.
Yeah. So it's something that I enjoy doing. I think it was Cedric told me once, one of these professors said, don't waste your pain. All of this that I've been going through was for a purpose. And I thought, I'm not gonna let it just go, and I live my life as if nothing happened. I'm going to share with others what I've been through and how God has taken me through it step by step.
So,
And
Pauline, let me ask you this. So, did you think even at one time when you got the diagnosis, you were like shocked, devastated? Describe that moment you got that diagnosis. Describe that.
Like I said, he was sitting there with me, and everything was just going over my head. I didn't take anything in. If he wasn't there, I would not have known what to tell him when I come home. So he had to listen and remember, and
So,
told me
Cedric,
after.
what was your thinking when they said it?
Well, I knew something was wrong because we went to our family doctor, who's a believer.
Mm-hmm.
And so she said, well, Pauline was bleeding internally. And she was saying, well, it could be something small, but let's go do a colonoscopy. And so when the doctor called, you can see he was burdened.
Mm.
And he spoke in Afrikaans.
Yes.
And he just stated plainly.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm able to distance myself because of the years in ministry to keep a level head. Mm-hmm. And so when he said the diagnosis and he put it on the stage, on the spectrum, stage 3B is just below stage 4, which means there's a 25% chance of survival. I was able to ask intelligent questions about, all right, what's the place? What's the plan forward? What do you recommend? And so on. And so, guess I was not, I guess not cold, but I was level-headed.
You didn't get your emotions wasn't mixed up, even though they were there.
No. And you need that. I mean, what she said after, when the moment he said cancer, she was shocked, but I guess I wasn't expecting, but I also wasn't panicking about it.
Right. Wow.
So I guess when you go to the doctor and or something like this, you need someone with you that is more level-headed.
Yeah.
Just to keep.
To keep you level-headed.
Yeah. All I can remember is that the doctor said, the good news is we can take it out. And he showed me on the chart, the colon and where the growth was, and that we could take it out and so on. So that's all I heard. The rest just went to my head.
Yeah.
Right.
And
So
so
yeah,
Cedric was over there like this, trying to keep it in.
yeah. So because he wanted to find is there a family issue that passes from generation to generation and so on, but there was none. So his diagnosis was a lifestyle disease, which is wrong. Cancer is just spontaneous; it shows up when it wants to.
Yeah.
And so, fortunately, we were able to get everything out through the surgery.
Yeah.
And then the whole process began from there.
Yeah.
Um,
Very well. So
throughout
go ahead.
the process, I was researching, I was on websites, I was looking at studies. I was because I'm able to understand some technical stuff. And then whenever we went in for the weekly treatment and then consultation with the doctor, I would have a list of questions I would ask him. And the doctor was so appreciative. He said, I like people to ask questions because everybody's afraid to ask questions.
Right.
And so I had informed, I was better informed than most people because I did my research.
Now, would you agree? Would you agree that cancer, everybody has cancer cells? I'm sure you learned that in your research.
Yeah.
And that cancer is activated by what we put in our bodies, stress, environment, all those things play a big part in cancer. Actually.
Yeah, and it's just your cells decide, I'm tired of playing the game, so they just decide to get a few others with them, and then they form a kind of opposition to the body, and then you have the cancer forming.
Right.
But yeah, it's a combination of factors. It's not just one factor.
Yeah.
It's a number of factors.
That's right.
Hereditary is part of it, but it's not the only thing.
Yeah,
that's correct. Oh, wow.
Yeah, and Pauline maintained a very healthy lifestyle, so that's why we were shocked.
Yeah. I could understand that I had it in my colon, and I knew the doctor was going to tell me it's because of lifestyle, but that wasn't me, that's why I thought, it was just spontaneous because I was very active, exercise a lot, eat the right foods, drink my water, stuff like that, take my supplements and all of that. So I heard it was in the colon.
Yeah.
But the one doctor, what's her name?
Mark?
No, I'm talking about the lady. What's her name?
My doctor, what is her name? Oh goodness, I can't remember her name now.
Anyway, she said it's actually a lifestyle that limited the impact of the cancer.
Yeah.
That was her diagnosis. Yes. And she said, look,
that's interesting. Yeah.
Limited the spread of it. She said because she was maintaining a healthy lifestyle, didn't go as far as it could have.
As it could have gone.
The lifestyle kept it within its limit.
Right. Okay. Very well.
He was talking now about the research he did and all that, and the other day when I was talking to the women at the hospital, I was telling them that you should keep stress like really low. You shouldn't be stressing. The support of the family, support of your husband is very important and all that. I said to them, my husband, he should get a medal for what he did during that time because I didn't do anything. I didn't have to concern myself with the children and with housework and finances and all of those things because he did it all. He did it all. Yeah.
Amen.
So yeah.
Wow. But hospital, I was in the accounts department every week, and they would lay out the accounts for me, and they said, "This is where we are. This is what you need to pay," and so on. I was so regular that I became part of the staff. I said, "Oh, Mr. Chippendale, yeah," because I realized you need to. Because I know I was putting a script for the cancer at one of the pharmacies here. And the lady looked at the script and she said, "Oh, this is cancer treatment." I said, "Yes." She said, "Well, I just, stand one side. I want to talk to you about this." And the pharmacist was saying a friend of hers is a cancer patient, but she's so afraid to ask questions because she's afraid the doctor might charge her. And she said, I've got a bunch of questions to ask you. And so I sat down speaking with the pharmacist on the Pauline Street. Said, okay. She said, the stress level, because what happened to cancer patients? Will the health insurance cover this? What will I do if I sit with a huge bill at the end of the period and the health insurance say we're only going to cover 10% of, and all that stuff. And so she was just, what was driving their stress was the financial cost.
Yeah,
and that's how health insurance, they can decide whatever they want. They gods,
yeah,
you know that.
Yeah.
Right. So would you say, is it safe to say that, you said it earlier, but I just want to repeat it again. Is it safe to say that this ugly, mean, this attack, this sickness, this illness that God allowed you to be privileged, I'm going to say, to carry, was not for you, but for others? Is it safe to say?
I could say that.
Yeah,
say that.
because you became an encourager. You became an encourager for others. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
The
Apostle Paul.
Wait a minute now. Let me see. I get excited, but we're gonna do this. Cedric, you've come to the States. You're in ministry, but you weren't always there. So I want you to talk to the good folks about how you got to be the man of God that you are today. He's actually been to the States and got degrees and all kinds of stuff, and he'll tell you all about that. And gone back home, our question would have been, why would you go back home? You're in the States, you're doing well. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to let you share that next week. And y'all, this is DTM Real Talk, and we're just doing what? Keeping it real. And we'll see y'all next week. Thanks for watching DTM Real Talk. Be sure to join us for more conversation. And oh yeah, don't forget to hit that like button, share, and subscribe while you're there.